guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're focusing on New Zealand rugby being rocked by, unfortunately, the coronavirus. It has returned in New Zealand and unfortunately in Auckland. The country has now been put on a stay-at-home lockdown order. So they were on level 1, they're now moving to level 2, the whole country as a whole. But Auckland, which is New Zealand's longest city, is moving to level 3 as of Wednesday. Statement from New Zealand Rugby is that they are in communication with the New Zealand government in order to come up with a plan on how they're going to proceed for this final weekend of rugby. We've obviously got the Highlanders taking on the Hurricanes in what should be a cracker. Yes, the Crusaders have won, but it's still the final week. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hope. It's final game of Super Rugby for the year. It's lined up to be absolutely massive, and especially going to Auckland, where we're going to see the Blues taking on the Crusaders. This game has been sold out already. I saw the announcement or an article this morning of saying Auckland has been sold out, and now, not too long ago, breaking news is that the conclusion of the New Zealand successful Super Rugby campaign has been cast in doubt because of a surge in COVID cases. But hopefully, for the sake of it, it's going to be held well. I mean, New Zealand have done extremely well in order to prevent this from happening. More than 100 days of not having an infection, and obviously in the main provinces, they're obviously controlling the odd person that's been hit with the disease, keeping them isolated, keeping them safe. But hopefully they'll be able to control this. In a statement from New Zealand, it says they are currently assessing the impact on rugby following the announcement that Auckland will tomorrow, which is Wednesday, move to COVID-19 level 3. The rest of the country to level 2, as I said. New Zealand Rugby is in close dialogue with the government, and an update will be given on Wednesday as to what they're going to do. They said after 102 days, we have our first cases of COVID-19 outside of the managed isolation or quarantine facilities. The Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, said that 4 cases had been detected in a single family in Auckland from an unknown source. We have all worked incredibly hard to prevent the scenario. We have also planned and prepared for this. So hopefully they'll be able to get these guys isolated, get these guys back to full health, so that New Zealand can go back to level 1 and continue the great performances that they've been doing. So it's sad news. This is something we don't want to hear, especially on our final week. But safety and health is what comes first at the end of the day. These guys need to be taken care of. But they say it's casting doubt over the games this weekend. I somehow don't feel that the Highlanders taking on the Hurricanes is going to be infected. But I do feel that the Blues versus Crusaders is going to be a big talking point, which could also, you never know, seeing how situations go, how quickly they are to get these guys isolated, who these other people have been around. Those are all the questions that now need to be asked, and how they're going to deal with it going forward. If those guys haven't obviously been in contact, then great stuff. They can obviously control the situation better. But obviously, if this gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the Rugby Championship later this year could also be in doubt, because we just don't know what's going to happen. But New Zealand have handled this situation very well, and I have the confidence in them that they will do it again, definitely. I mean, the Prime Minister, credit to her for controlling the situation and keeping things on point, and I'm sure, as she said, we have also planned and prepared for this. So thankfully it's only a few cases and nothing massive, but hopefully they can keep everything in line and secure, so that when things go on, they can continue with their everyday lives, and the rugby and the sports and everything going on. Blues versus Crusaders. It's a massive game this weekend because it's the final one of the tournament, which has been highly praised by fans and around the world and in New Zealand. It's been a great tournament, and this was the game that we've all been looking forward to seeing whether or not the Blues can beat the Crusaders. Obviously, a lot of fans were hoping for this one to be like a final where we could see the winner crowned this weekend, but that wasn't to be. Crusaders were crowned this past weekend and apparently celebrated a little bit too hard and dropped the trophy, and are now looking for cultural advice on how to go about this. Hopefully that can get resolved very quickly. But the rugby this weekend, unfortunately, fortunately it's been sold out, but unfortunately with COVID-19 we could see this game be played either behind doors or it will be postponed. I think what will happen is it will be played behind doors because the players would have been well secured, well prepared, and hopefully wouldn't have been in contact with that family. So hopefully we can see the game still go ahead as planned. But the sad part is that the stadium will not have a crowd. And I mean, they're saying that because of the great crowd performances from Auckland, it's pretty much put the Blues in a stronger position financially and could indeed save the club. But now, obviously, with this big loss, taking away all those tickets, refunding those people, that's money lost, which is so unfortunate for the sport. So, look, nothing's been finalised as of yet. New Zealand Rugby will release a statement tomorrow on the matter to say whether or not it will be played or played behind closed doors. So for the sake of sport and sports fans and for the health of rugby teams, and also I hope that all is in the clear and these guys can have a crowd, but you've got to be careful, you've got to be secure, because New Zealand have worked extremely hard to keep the current situation to where it is. I mean, 102 days without an infection outside of the managed isolation and quarantine area or facilities is pretty remarkable, and they will want to continue that. So I fully understand why New Zealand government will want to put on the strict rules going forward and put these guys on a stay-at-home lockdown, because they want to keep them safe, they want to keep them secure. I mean, that's what got them healthy in the first place. So fingers crossed, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Auckland and everyone in New Zealand. Hopefully you guys are able to conquer this situation like you have done before. Let's hope, for the sake of the sport and the sake of Auckland and for the sake of even the Highlanders and the Hurricanes game, that we can indeed get crowds in, because that will financially benefit these four fantastic franchises. So let's see what happens. We'll wait and see from New Zealand Rugby and New Zealand government tomorrow as they make that announcement. Until then, let me know your thoughts. Stay safe and never give up, New Zealand. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.